find out what Disney World is like during the Christmas season. This is episode 57 of the Go Inform podcast. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is episode 57, and today we're talking about Christmas at Disney World, and I am excited. I have been waiting all year to tell you guys about this, so this is going to be fun. My name is Maven. I am the hostess here on the show, and thanks for joining me today. The holidays at Disney World are kind of the biggest event of the year, and this is something that I think you guys should know about if you're trying to decide what time of the year to visit. Because if you like Christmas, you are going to love Disney World in November and December. Lucky for me, I was able to travel to Disney World last year in the first week of December in 2019. This is the first time that I've been there during the Christmas holidays, and it blew me away. And it's definitely on my top of the list to visit again during that season. And it is kind of funny because I was there in December and I didn't think it made sense to tell you guys about Christmas time at Disney World on a recording that I made like in January. So I really have waited a whole year to tell you guys about it. So this is fun for me and good way to sort of relive what it was like in the world at the end of 2019, but also to think forward to, what we can expect in Christmas 2021 and beyond. So there will be show notes, as always, for this episode. You can find them at goinform.net/57, and there's going to be a lot of pictures in there. So if you want to see some of the stuff that I'm talking about here, you can catch that over at the show notes. I cannot begin to tell you everything that happens at Disney World in the Christmas season. So this is designed to give you kind of a big picture overview of some of the things that I saw that I thought were really cool, and some of the things I think you should know about if you're considering going in December or November for that matter. And then hopefully this will give you a good overview so you can dive deeper into a research if you think you want to travel during this time of the year. So the first thing to know about Christmas time at Disney World is that it actually starts the night after Halloween, like the night of Halloween, pretty much. There are a whole bunch of Santa's elves out there overnight transforming the parks from, especially Magic Kingdom, from Halloween decorations to Christmas. And by the first week of November, like by the 10th of November or something, most all of the decorations are going to be up in the parks. The other thing about Christmas at Disney World is that it is everywhere. So it's not just in the theme parks. It is in the hotels. It is in Disney Springs. Everywhere is decorated for Christmas. So if you're like, no, too much Christmas for me, then that's something good to know also. But if you really want to, go to Christmas Town, this is your place. So keep this in mind because I don't know about you, but I am ready to really have Christmas. For the most part, we're not going to have a normal Christmas here in 2020, but we get a do-over hopefully in 2021, and beyond. So if you are already thinking, hey, what are we going to do next year for Christmas? I really want to go over the top. Then a Disney vacation in the end of the year might just fill the bill for you. So let's talk about what you're going to see and get to do and all that if you travel to Disney World at the end of the year. So first of all, let me talk about the parks, and because the theme parks is really where you're going to see a lot of activity. And there's something in every single theme park. I think most people, the first place their mind's going to go to, if you haven't been there before, is Magic Kingdom. That's your classic park with the castle in it. And I think everyone has seen pictures of Main Street all decked out for Christmas and, Mickey and Minnie in their Christmas costumes. That is 100% how it is. There's a lot of decorations in Magic Kingdom, especially around Main Street, around the town square and the hub out by the castle. That's where you're going to see, there's a huge Christmas tree right when you first walk in behind the train station. The castle is covered in lights. There's special decorations on, the light posts. The shops have extra Christmas merchandise and foods. And so you just get this wonderful sense that you kind of gone to the North Pole. The whole fantasy of Magic Kingdom is always is something, special about it. But at Christmas time, you just get that extra layer on top of it of all the extra Christmas cheer. So the other thing that happens in Magic Kingdom at Christmas is a special after hours event, and it's called Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. And this is an extra thing that you can do if you want to add on to your trip. So it's an extra ticket price. It happens after the park is closed to the general public. So the Very Merry Christmas Party, usually you get admission starting around 4:00 in the afternoon, and it'll run until midnight. The Very Merry Christmas Party has all kinds of special things that don't happen just during the regular park hours. So there is a special parade that's all Christmas themed. There's extra special fireworks. You get to meet characters in their Christmas costumes. And it's limited admission, so you don't have the usual crowd. So you actually, if you want to ride some of the attractions, this is a time that you can do that without having big, long lines. There's even a special overlay on the Jungle Cruise. They call it the Jingle Cruise. So even some of the attractions are different for the Christmas party. And there's also treats like hot cocoa and special treats that you get included with your admission for the Christmas party. So this is an extra thing you can do. And you need to keep in mind, too, that it's going to affect your touring. Even if you don't do the Christmas party, you need to know that on the nights that they have this party, the Magic Kingdom is going to close early for, just general admission. And the Christmas party actually sometimes starts even before Halloween. So if you're traveling at the end of the year at any time, watch those Magic Kingdom hours, because you may find that the day that you were thinking you were going to go to Magic Kingdom is a short day and you got to be out of the park by 5:00. So watch those hours. The Very Merry Christmas Party does take place a lot of nights of the week, especially as you start getting closer to actual Christmas Day. So be aware that this affects the schedule over at Magic Kingdom. But this can be a super fun thing. I have not done the Christmas party, so I'm hoping maybe next year I can give you a report personally about it, but there is lots of information out there. There is no Very Merry Christmas Party this year in 2020, but there most likely will be in 2021. The information that's out there right now about the party most likely is pretty accurate. You can take it forward to be able to understand, what to expect if you choose to go in 2021. I will look for some resources that are online about this and put those in the show notes for you guys. So show notes, again, are at goinformed.net/57. All right, let's go to Epcot next, because Epcot has some pretty special stuff going on for the holidays too. So Magic Kingdom is the only park that actually has an extra ticketed event that you need to purchase a ticket for to see the extra special Christmas experience. The other parks everywhere else, the holiday Christmas stuff is just part of the experience. And Epcot, you really are getting your money's worth, because Epcot does a lot related to Christmas. Most of the holiday stuff in Epcot is over in the World Showcase end of the park. At least that's how it was last year when I was there. And it might be related to all the construction that's going on over at Future World. But I think that in general, you're going to find that Epcot focuses their holiday events out in the World Showcase. And for Christmas time, it's called the Epcot International Festival of the Holidays. So, Epcot has a festival like constantly. And generally, whenever Epcot is having some kind of festival, it means they've got extra food booths and like special food, special drinks, a little extra roving entertainment or a little extra entertainment in the different lands. Often like special merchandise and stuff like that. And their holiday festival is the same kind of thing. So there's lots of special decorations up, and they are focusing on kind of the different ways that the different countries celebrate their holiday season. The biggest event, though, related to this is actually in the American Pavilion, and that is the Candlelight Processional. So the Candlelight Processional is a evening event that takes place usually multiple times every night. It's like about an hour-long show. It takes place outside in the theater on the edge of the American Pavilion that's like next to the lake. And what it is it's a retelling of the traditional Christmas story with a celebrity narrator and a huge choir. And it's really pretty, and it's a very big deal. And I want you guys to know about it, because even if it's not something you want to see, it is going to impact the crowd levels and what's going on in Epcot if you travel there during November and December. So this particular event is super popular, and especially depending on who the celebrity is. So what they do is it goes over 5 or 6 weeks time that they are putting this on practically every night. And they have different celebrities that come in for like a week at a time. So depending on who it is going to affect the crowd. And when I was there last year, Neil Patrick Harris was the celebrity, and he's like super popular with the Epcot fans. And so, it just meant that there was a lot more people in the park, and it's a lot harder to get a seat to watch the show in the theater. No matter when you go, though, it's always tricky to get a seat to see it in the theater. So you need to think about if this is important to you. It's quite a spectacle. I mean, it is really beautiful. You can watch on YouTube to see what it looks like. I can put a link to this in the show notes too for you. And if you want to sit in the theater and see it, you're going to have to either wait in line for a really long time, or the other way to get around it is to purchase a dining package that includes a spot in the theater. So dining packages are a really good trick at Disney World if you want to get a reserved seat for something like fireworks or a show like this. What you do is you make a special reservation at one of the participating Restaurants. Sometimes it's a lunch reservation that includes a ticket to go to the show for a seat. Sometimes it's basically dinner and a show, but it costs more than a regular meal, but not that much more. So it can often be worth it. And it gives you a reserved seat. So you don't have to, stand in line forever. You know you're going to have a spot at the show. This is definitely one of the times when I would suggest looking into this. Now, the other thing you can do if you're more casual interest in this, like me, you can, since it's outside, you can eavesdrop on it. So you can just walk past and, sort of look through the crowd and see what's going on. And you can definitely hear it from almost everywhere in the World Showcased. So if it's not a huge priority for you and you're just curious, just know that it is outdoors. It is something that, they don't want you to stop and block the whole path, but you can definitely sort of standing room only catch parts of the show. So that's something to keep in mind over at Epcot. Now, something else to know about traveling to Disney World in December, especially, is that the local people in Orlando, they also love the holidays at Disney World. So especially Epcot in the evenings is going to be extra crowded. So keep this in mind. This kind of caught me by surprise, but I realized right away what was going on. Disney World sells a pass to the locals that is called, I think it's called Epcot After 6 or something. And it literally is just a way for them to be able to come into Epcot, for dinner or whatever. Well, in the holiday season, then it's a tradition. A lot of families have a tradition to go to Epcot sometime as part of their holiday, usual kind of ramping up to the holidays. So you're not only going to have the guests that have come to visit Disney World overall, but you're also going to have locals in there who are coming for this is their big Christmas night out. So just be aware that you are probably going to see higher crowds at Epcot in the evenings than in any of the other parks. Make dining reservations if you want to have a sit-down meal. This is part of the beauty, though, of it being a festival, is there's plenty of stuff you can get and just snack on and walk around and, sample from different places in the World Showcase. So, yes, Epcot is quite popular during the Christmas time. Okay, let's go to Animal Kingdom next. So I really liked how Animal Kingdom had sort of a laid back vibe when it came to the holidays. They do decorate and they do it in their own way. So it's very true to the theming of the place. The main part of Animal Kingdom where you're going to see decorations is kind of on the Discovery Island, which is sort of like their version of Main Street, although it doesn't look like that, but it's where the main shops and stuff are. What they've done here, and this is the area in front, kind of when you first get the big view of the Tree of Life. So what they've done here is they've put gorgeous lanterns on top of the buildings. They look sort of like giant of those luminaries that you'll see sometimes around at Christmas time. They've put those on the buildings and around the area. And then they have these incredible puppets. It's hard to even call them a puppet, but I guess that's sort of what they are, that are acting out different wintertime traditional stories from around the world, which is really cool. The decorations here feel really almost handmade. And so I really like that. You're going to actually see Christmas decorations in a few other parts of the park too, and they also kind of just blend in. So if you go to Dino Land, there's this big dinosaur skeleton kind of thing that spans over the path, and they've got it all lit up with Christmas lights, which is really fun. And even in Pandora, in the Avatar Land, you can spot Christmas lights near the exit to the Flight of Passage. And it's meant to be that the Earth people who are on the planet have salvaged some Christmas lights and done a little decorating. So it's fun. It's kind of fun to see where you can spot the Christmas decorations in Animal Kingdom. But really the biggest thing at Animal Kingdom that you really want to make time to see is the wonderful light show on the Tree of Light. So they do a beautiful sequence of a series of animated projections on the tree, and they're all wintertime. It's really beautiful. It's like one of them, the leaves are turning on the tree and they drop, and then pretty soon it's snowing and there's, animals crossing it, and the music is gorgeous as always. This is really worth seeing. And I do have some video of that, so I'll try to get that into the show notes or at least up on Instagram for you guys to check it out. Something that you might be noticing is a recurring theme among what I'm describing here is a lot of the decorations and a lot of the events are at night in the theme parks. So if you're usually more of a early morning tourer like I am, you're going to want to kind of shift your thinking a little bit, because you definitely going to want to be in these parks after dark. Now, the thing is, it's December, so it's dark, at like 5 o'clock anyway. So it's not like you have to stay in the parks really late. But just keep in mind that you definitely want to see if you could be in each of the parks after dark on any given night, try to make time to see each of the parks after dark. And probably the best example of this actually is over at Hollywood Studios. So Hollywood Studios, it is decked out over there. I think when you're there during the daytime, you'll notice decorations, but it's really at night that everything comes to life. So Hollywood Studios, they also have a gigantic Christmas tree. It's in the middle of the lake. That's kind of the central feature of the park. So there's a big, huge Christmas tree there, and then stuff in the like lighting up balls and stuff in the lake. There's like giant Christmas ornaments all around the park. And at night, everything lights up. Something that I think is really cool is they do a projection show on the side of the Hollywood Tower Hotel, which is the Tower of Terror ride. It's super cute, just themed to, all kinds of different Disney themes. And it also can just make it look like a big wrapped up Christmas present. And the projection show is just going constantly. So you don't have to be in the park at any given time to see it. You can just, no matter where you are, pretty much you can see it also. And it's just really festive. They also have super festive and fun music in Hollywood Studios, kind of the more pop and stuff from the 40s and whatever, all those kind of classic Christmas songs. You're going to hear that when you're walking around, and it even snows. So there is snow on a regular basis on the street that leads to the Tower of Terror. So you can walk down that street and have it be snowing, which is pretty cool in Florida in December. And if you live in a place like I do where it doesn't snow very often, it's pretty cool anyway. So you definitely should check out Hollywood Studios after dark during the Christmas season. Okay, but as I said at the beginning here, the parks aren't the only place where you're going to find Christmas decorations. And in fact, some of the most heavily themed locations in Disney World are actually the hotels themselves. I highly recommend that you make some time to check out a few of the big resort hotels, because there are some incredible things that the cast members do to decorate the hotel lobbies and all around the resorts. For me, what I did is I took part of a day and kind of did a little bit of a monorail loop and with a detour over to Wilderness Lodge. And I was really glad that I did. I have a couple of highlights. Probably the top thing to see is the lobby of the Grand Floridian Hotel. It is unbelievable, you guys. I don't know how many Christmas trees are in there, but there's, of course, one gigantic one right in the middle. And next to it is the biggest gingerbread house I don't know, maybe it's the biggest one anywhere, but it is so big that there's actually a little store inside of it there's someone in it selling gingerbread cookies. So it's unbelievably cool. Somehow the staff on the culinary team at the Grand Floridian, every year they build a gingerbread, like a full-size house out of gingerbread. It's really neat. You can go right up to it. I mean, you can literally go right up to it because you can go buy gingerbread from someone inside of it. You can, go all around it. You need to leave some time here. If you're going to go to the Grand Floridian, give yourself at least an hour. I would, if you can, go there for afternoon tea or something where you can really just sort of hang out in the lobby for a while and look around because there is so much to see. But just with the gingerbread house, I mean, there's smoke coming out of the chimney, you guys. It's super cool. So make sure if you're going to find, go see one location, I would highly recommend checking out Grand Floridian. The Grand Floridian, by the time you go there, is going to be literally just a short walk from the Magic Kingdom. They have finally put a path in from Grand Floridian over to Magic Kingdom, so you don't even have to take the monorail around, but it's always fun. But so if you're going to Magic Kingdom, just take a little detour and check out the Grand Floridian's lobby. The other place that I was really glad that I went to visit was the Wilderness Lodge. Wilderness Lodge is also near the Magic Kingdom. You take a boat over to it, takes like 10 minutes. And the lodge is stunningly beautiful. It's built to look like one of the great national park lodges, like in Yellowstone Park. And it's stunning any time of the year, but at Christmas time, it's just wonderful. They have I don't even know how tall, huge Christmas tree in the lobby. The lobby smells like wood fire because they've got a wood fireplace going all the time in there. You can get some hot apple cider if you want, which is wonderful. And so what I did was I just went over there and walked around, got some hot cider, and then I just found a rocking chair up on the mezzanine and just looked at the tree for a long time. It was very cool. And needless to say, I got a lot of pictures of that. So I will put some in the show notes. And watch my Instagram this month, you guys, because I finally get to show these pictures. Like, who wanted to see them in June, right? I'm going to be sharing a lot of pictures and videos over on Instagram of all this Christmassy stuff. And you can find me, if you're not already following me over there, at GoInformNet. That's my handle over there. The other thing that I did not see, but that sounds really cool over by Wilderness Lodge, is at the Fort Wilderness Campground. The Fort Wilderness Campground is pretty cool, you guys. And I'm not even a camper, but it's pretty cool. You can actually just rent a campsite, often for like $50 a night, and pitch a tent if you want and stay on Disney World property. But you can also rent a campsite and have an RV pulled in there and just stay in that. And of course, you can bring your own RV if you're able to. But what happens at the holidays is that people at these campsites decorate like crazy. So you can go there and just see the Christmas lights, like walking through a neighborhood kind of. So that sounds like a really neat thing to do some evening, is go over to Fort Wilderness and see how everybody has their campsites all decked out. So, and then the other place where you're going to be able to get some extra Christmas cheer is over at Disney Springs. Disney Springs is the big kind of outdoor mall, for lack of a better term, but way cooler than a usual mall. And Disney Springs has tons of restaurants and shopping and all of that kind of stuff. And they also, for Christmas, do a lot of special things. So one of the neat things that they do is I think they call it the Christmas tree trail. So it's a bunch of Christmas trees. Last year, they had them all kind of in one spot. I know in past years, they've kind of had it as something spread out through Disney Springs. So it changes from year to year. The trees, though, are totally decked out in Disney theming. So it might be like Little Mermaid. It might be Haunted Mansion. One of them was like Disney Villains. So really cool themed Christmas trees. And of course, you can buy all the decorations that they put on the tree. So that's cool. So you could bring it home for yourself. But that's a neat thing to do. It's free, and part of the stuff at Disney Springs. Disney Springs usually is also one of the places where you can go to meet Santa. So, I mean, yeah, get your Santa picture at Disney World, of course. So that's another thing that you can do there. Plus, you know, there is some pretty amazing and unique shopping at Disney Springs, including, by the way, in the restaurants. A lot of the restaurants have little shops, and like the Boathouse had some super fun stuff that I bought for people. So this is a great place to get unique Christmas presents to get some of your shopping done while you're there as well. So here are just a few more top tips related to traveling to Disney World during the Christmas season. Pay attention to the weather forecast, because it can be 90 degrees in Florida in December, or when I was there, it was literally freezing at night. So make sure that you know what to expect with the weather when you're packing, because you don't want to get there and be too hot, too cold, whatever. I mean, I always end up having to buy something because I'm too hot or too cold, but try not to. So take a look at the weather forecast. Don't assume that, it's Florida, so it's going to be 80 degrees, because it might be 40 and you're going to be really cold. And it could be the other way. So watch the weather. Be aware that these are traditions for the local people in Orlando too. So even if you're traveling on kind of a lighter crowd date, especially Epcot in the evening can be busy. So just be aware of that so that you can kind of plan accordingly. Oh, and along those lines, just like you and me, these local people in Orlando probably aren't quite doing all their usual stuff this year too. So when 2021 comes around, they're going to be really excited to get to see the candlelight processional that didn't happen in 2020. So it's going to be extra important if you are traveling to Disney World in 2021 to be aware that even if the hotels aren't full, that there are going to be more locals. Most likely, there's going to be more locals coming into the parks than usual. So make your dinner reservations. That's probably the number one thing I would say is if you want to eat in a certain place, make sure you have a dinner reservation so you're not competing with a bunch of extra, just local Orlando people. And speaking of the crowds, so this time of the year is actually kind of unusual in terms of crowd levels, because in the span of from the beginning of November to the end of December, you are going to see, if you look at a crowd prediction calendar, you're going to see some of the lowest crowd days of the year, and you are going to see some of the highest crowd days of the year. So depending on your situation, if you are able to choose when to travel, then you should go either the very beginning of November or the very beginning of December. I was there the first week of December, and for the most part, the crowds were very manageable. But if you start getting close to Christmas and New Year's, those are literally the busiest days of the year. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't go. A lot of the stuff I talk about here on the show is about how to deal with crowds like that and how you can still have a really good time. But if you have the option to go in kind of one of those off-peak weeks, you're going to pay less for your hotel and you're going to have a lot fewer people there. So keep that in mind. This actually can be a really, really good time to visit the parks. You can have the whole experience of the Christmas season without crowds if you choose one of those off weeks that's very lightly traveled. Be sure that you leave a little extra time in your touring plans to go see some of the hotels and Disney Springs. You know, sometimes of the year, I don't think you need to do that. It's nice if you want to take a break day. But if you are specifically traveling in order to sort of take in the holiday spirit, then definitely make time, like make this part of your plan to go and see some of the cool stuff. And if you only go one place aside from the parks, go over to the Grand Floridian for sure. And this is also goes to thinking about where to stay, because if you're traveling at Christmas time, you may have a different place you want to stay than if you were traveling, you know, in June or May. So if you really want the immersive experience, you know, maybe you want a spring to stay at the Wilderness Lodge or Grand Floridian. So do some homework to see, like, what are these hotels doing for the holidays? And if you want that full, like, walk through the lobby and you're getting the whole Christmas thing, then you probably are going to want to go with one of the deluxe resorts. Those are the ones where you literally will walk through a lobby to get out of your room, as opposed to the moderates and the others that are a little more like you just go out of your room to outside. So think about how much do you want, you know, to be part of your experience. And if you really want to live it up, then you should look at one of these deluxe resorts. And some do more than others. I stopped in at the Contemporary and they had a nice tree and they had a small gingerbread display, but nothing like what I saw over at the Grand Floridian or the Wilderness Lodge. So do some checking to see what the hotels are doing and then, you know, make your plans accordingly. Know that nighttime is when a lot of the events are happening, and the decorations in most of the parks are best seen at night. So just be aware that you may want to plan to tour like where you start early, but take a break, take a nap or something in the afternoon, and then go back to the parks at night. Just know that you're probably going to spend a little more time after dark in the parks. But again, it gets dark really early. So that doesn't mean you have to stay out till midnight. And if you can't travel, or it's just not going to work for you to travel during the Christmas season, the other thing to know is that there's actually some stuff that's all year round that's Christmas at Disney World. In the Magic Kingdom in Liberty Square, there is a Christmas shop that is open all year round, with tons of cool Disney-themed ornaments. And, you know, it's always got Christmas music and all of that. So if you're traveling another time of the year, you can still get your Christmas ornaments for your tree for when you're home. And in Epcot, in the Germany Pavilion, there is a wonderful Christmas shop there as well. So there are some places where you can, you know, kind of get your Christmas fix, even if you're not there during that time of the year. And if you're just plain going to be home and you want to think about Christmas in Disney World, like right now, YouTube is an amazing treasure trove of inspiration and therapy and just gives you that little shot of Disney. So there are tons of YouTube videos that are just ambient sounds from the parks. And there's Christmas ones, also Christmas music, theme park Christmas music. Even there's, they even have like hotel Christmas music, and you can find that on YouTube if you just like do a quick search. So I will look for a couple things like that and put in the show notes for you guys, because I think that is a really nice way, especially just the music, just put the music on and in the background, and it kind of can take you there. So there are ways we can get a little Disney Christmas into our world, even when we're stuck at home, or if it's in August or whatever. Liberally use YouTube. Those videos are a wonderful way to kind of get there without physically going. And the show notes again are going to be at goinform.net/57. And they are mostly going to be pictures, but it's going to be fun to put that together for you guys. So go over and check it out. And keep an eye on my Instagram here in December, because it's going to be lots of Orlando Christmas pictures. And again, my Instagram is at goinformnet, or you can search for Go Inform Podcast, and that should get you there as well. I really do think that if you are not sure when to travel to Disney World, that you add the Christmas holidays into your mix of for your consideration, because it really is a wonderful time to visit. There's so many extras that you get without paying more, and it's a fun way to end the year for sure. So hopefully all of this will help give you some more information about it and get you thinking about it, so you can jump off deeper into learning more about the holidays at Disney World. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you guys are all doing great, and I hope that when you travel, you have a very merry vacation.